The recruiting dead period is over and targets are back on campus with spring practice taking place here on Rocky Top. What did a certain five-star have to say about Tennessee this weekend? Is he wrapping up his visit on a Monday morning? The latest on Tristen Keys and Tennessee recruiting. It's your Monday Locked On Vols.
You are Locked On Vols, your daily podcast on the Tennessee Volunteers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome into it, your Monday morning edition of Locked On Vols. I'm your host, Eric Kane. Thank you so much for being here. I'm pumped. I'm excited to talk a little Tennessee football and get you ready for the start of your work week. Big week coming up, spring practice in football, SEC tournaments coming up with basketball. That tournament bracket is set. Tennessee baseball begins SEC play later this week, so and tons of recruiting. We're going to hit on that here in segment number 1, talking hoops in segment 3, and then what's some more news and notes from Tennessee football spring practice in segment number 2. Going to be at spring practice later this morning. Going to get to see 7 periods. So your Tuesday Locked On Ball should be really, really good. Some practice notes, so you have that to look forward to. With that being said, get in your questions and comments, concerns as well for the mailbag edition of the show that's coming up tomorrow with a lengthy practice report. So that's what you have to look forward to coming up on a Tuesday. Big shout out to our friends over at FanDuel Sportsbook for making this show possible. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. That's over at FanDuel Sportsbook. So, Tristen Keys over on campus this weekend. We know about Tristen Keys, 5-star wide receiver. The On3 industry rankings has him as the 3rd overall prospect in the class, number 1 wide receiver, and number 1 prospect out of the state of Mississippi. He's from Hattiesburg. Shout out Tennessee baseball, Super Regional Hattiesburg 2023 summer. It was about 110 degrees. 6'2", 185 pounds. Again, that is Tristen Keys. On3 has him as the number 8 prospect. 247 has him at number 4. ESPN has him at 16. Rivals has him at 9. So consensus, top 16 player in the class over all 4 of the recruiting side. So really, really good player. And he's been at Tennessee several times. And again, he was back on Tennessee's campus this weekend. He was the headliner. It was a small group. It wasn't a big group. It was a small group, kind of, more of one-on-one interactions. And I think Tennessee's going to take advantage with that with Tristen Keys as his visit wraps up this morning. He got on campus Saturday afternoon, right before Tennessee's game against South Carolina. Took in the game over at Thompson Bowling Arena and, had a lot of good things to say. Matt Ray over at VolQuest.com caught up with Tristen Keys and had a lot of good things to say about the environment for a basketball game, his excitement about watching Tennessee in spring practice. He said, quote, "I just want to see the guys go at it, honestly. I'm just here to watch some football, get out there, kind of see how they work, how they develop. That's what I'm here for." Talking about the recruiting practice, quote, recruiting process. I mean, it's a process. I feel like it ain't easy, but it ain't nothing that we can't handle. So just narrowing everything down, just finding out what kind of environment that you want to be in and just kind of seeing what helps you. So it's been just too crazy, but it's been a process. Again, he can go to anywhere in the country that he wants to, but some of these top services, top programs like Tennessee coming after Tristen Keys, and he's going to be on campus, obviously, this morning to watch a spring practice. He'll be back on campus in June for an official visit. And the fact that he continues to, come around Tennessee, I mean, this is a big deal. And being able to watch spring practice, already setting up and locked in an official visit, this is a big deal for Tennessee in the hunt for a 5-star, another 5-star at the wide receiver position, and that is Tristen Keys. So sounds like Tristen Keys had a really, really good weekend over on Rocky Top, and it started with environment over at the basketball game against South Carolina, and then getting to spend a whole lot of one-on-one time with Josh Heupel, Joey Halsley, and Kelsey Pope over on Tennessee's campus. Tristen Keys wasn't the only Tennessee target that was on campus. Joey O'Brien, he is a athlete, 6'4", 180 pounds from Pennsylvania, and he's a top 100 prospect in the cycle. A guy that Tennessee covets, a guy that Tennessee's, likes an awful lot. He started his visit late Friday afternoon, left yesterday, and building a strong relationships with members of the staff. He's an athlete, can play a number of different positions, and he was kind of the second big headliner of the weekend, I guess is kind of what we call it. Really gelled, really bonded well with Tim Banks this past weekend, and that's obviously a really, really good sign. He's going to come back in June for an official visit, And, it feels like Tennessee did a really, really good job there. Again, there's versatility there, athlete, can play on the offensive side of the football, but I think Tennessee really likes him in the defensive backfield, that being Joey O'Brien at the safety position. But it feels like Tennessee really helped themselves out this past weekend. Again, he's a guy that is a top 100 prospect. 87 according to the On3 industry rankings, fourth athlete, number 2 out of his state. 86 overall according to On3, as high as 48 by 247. This being Joey O'Brien, who was on campus this past weekend. A couple of other ones that are notable. This is a New Jersey defensive lineman, Damari Simeon. He didn't interview when leaving campus, but it did feel like he had a really good weekend with the Volunteers. He's a fast riser, not very highly rated right now. On3 has him as a 4-star. Actually, On3 has him as a top 100 prospect, but 247 doesn't have them in their top 247. ESPN has them in their top 300. Rivals has them in the top 200. So, overall consensus, according to the On3 industry rankings, at 365. But On3 is very much high on him, and he's a guy that's just going to continue to climb the ranks in terms of recruiting. And he was on campus this past weekend. Didn't do an interview leaving campus, but it felt like Tennessee did a really, really good job in that regard. And, Tennessee's going to continue to stay in it with this one from St. Augustine Prep in New Jersey, that being Damari Simeon. So, again, a smaller weekend in terms of hosting recruits. All these officials are going to get going in the month of June. But Tennessee did a really, really good job, it feels like, with Tristen Keys, which is the number 1 priority. Joey O'Brien, number 2 priority. Quarterback Faizon Brandon, who was on campus as well this weekend, and he was peer recruiting Tristen Keys and walking around and kind of building that relationship with Keys. Tyreek King as well was on campus this weekend, and he was working to recruit Tristen Keys as well. Tyreek King, of course, from nearby Knoxville Catholic High School, one of the better slot receivers in this class in 2026, and a guy that's starting to hear around from some more and more people. You've got King that's, let's see here, Maryland and Southern Cal are trying to get him to take an official visit, trying to get him to come over there and see some spring practices. But as of right now, he has no plans to do so. With Faizon Brandon, I think it's LSU and Alabama that are continuing to reach out with him. And, as Matt Ray puts it in his article over at VolQuest.com, he doesn't want to burn any bridges, but he's simply, politely declining, saying, hey, I'm a Tennessee Vol. I want to be a Tennessee Vol. That's where I want to be. And so you have Tyreek King, you have Faizon Brandon, who are actively recruiting big-time prospects, trying to peer recruit and trying to work guys like Tristen Keys to Knoxville. That's a really, really good sign. And, of course, you got Carson Sneed, the tight end from the Mid-State, who's a fast riser. He was on campus as well. And I think that was it. Zach Groves, in-state edge rusher, and Tyson Bacon, who's a commit for Tennessee. Those 2 guys had plans to be in this weekend, but did not make it. So, sounds like Tennessee had a really good weekend. There will be more and more prospects on campus. Not this weekend because Tennessee's going to be on spring break, and there will be no spring practice, this upcoming weekend. But really strong start. There'll be more prospects on campus 2 weeks from now, and then, of course, they'll continue to cycle in as Tennessee gets ready for the orange and white game on April the 12th. So where does Tennessee stand with Tristen Keys right now? Feels like in a pretty good spot, and that's about as much as you can ask for a 5-star wide receiver heading into the mid-month of March. Hey, when we come back, we got plenty more to get into. What does Josh Heupel have to say about Mike Matthews, and is there a reason Mike Matthews didn't play as much as we kind of thought that he would last year? All that and more is coming up next as we continue on here with this Monday morning Locked On Vols. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're into plumbing, HVAC, electrical work, Supply House is a reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400-plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. Need help with an online order or need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and the industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for the trade pros looking for extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every single order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now you can too. Join the Trademaster program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That is SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. So big shout out to Supply House, and a big shout out to our friends over at Wayfair as well for being a part of the show. Your home should reflect your style, and with Wayfair, it's easier than ever to make that happen. Whether you're looking for a simple refresh or tackling a big home project, Wayfair has everything that you need in one place. Wayfair's huge selection makes it easy to find the perfect piece, no matter what your space is or what your budget is. From cozy furniture and stylish decor to kitchen essentials and outdoor must-haves, Wayfair has it all, and at the prices that fit your budget. Finding the perfect piece. I was looking for a new rug to tie in my living room. Well, let me rephrase that. My wife was looking for a new rug to tie in our living room, and Wayfair had so many stylish options at a great price, plus has free delivery as well. The site made it simple to compare styles. My order arrived super fast with that free delivery. I took advantage. You can as well. Head on over to wayfair.com and find something that's just your style today. That is Wayfair, WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Again, that is Wayfair. Is there a reason that we didn't see as much Mike Matthews as maybe we should have last year? Well, it turns out maybe he wasn't 100%. And I'm not talking about just the bruises and kind of getting dinged up as the year goes along. Nobody is 100%, once you get towards the middle and certainly towards the end of the regular season. But it feels like it might have been a little bit more than that. And Josh Heupel kind of shed some light on that Friday when he took to the media to kind of open up the spring practice. When asked about Mike Matthews, he raved about his work ethic, raved about his athletic ability, and also said that he's healthy for the first time in what feels like the first time. Here's what Josh Heupel had to say on now his star veteran wide receiver in Mike Matthews.
Yeah, Mike's had a really good offseason, just physically continuing to grow into his frame. He's as healthy as he's been right now for a long time. Just during the course of the fall, kind of got nicked up early, late in the summer, kind of re-injured himself a little bit in training camp, and kind of fought through the injury bug a little bit during the course of the season. In year two for him, growth of control in his mind, how he approaches everything every day, he's really matured in a really good way, and so I'm excited about what he's done up until this point in the offseason, but really like what he did today on the practice field, and we have high hopes and expectations for him.
So got dinged up a bit towards the end of summer, re-aggravated whatever it was in fall camp. And then, when you're kind of on that roll, it's hard to play catch up, especially early in the season. So I'm not going to say that's the only reason we didn't see. I mean, I think Tennessee just gets in a pattern of trusting veterans and a pattern of trusting guys that they know can do it, that they've seen that can do it. And I think that's at all positions. And I think that's the majority of the reason for it. Also, I think that just like any young freshman, I think Mike Matthews had inconsistent habits at times on the practice field. And if you do that on the practice field, then you're not going to make it to the game field. So I think it's a combination of some things. But the fact that he got banged up a little bit early in camp and then re-aggravated whatever it was in spring practice or in fall camp, that tells me that he started behind the eight ball a little bit. So he was playing catch up, so much probably throughout the first half of the season. So that kind of makes a little bit more sense to me, right? Should have seen a lot more Mike Matthews. Mike Matthews should have been a whole lot more productive for Tennessee. Tennessee should have played him in terms of snap count so much more. Well, maybe at points in times he wasn't available or he wasn't 100%. So I don't know. We'll see. And hopefully now that he is healthy, his progression can continue to develop and he can turn into that 5-star that he came here as. In terms of talent on the football field, Tennessee's certainly going to need him to do just that. Josh Heupel was asked about a lot of the coaching changes or coaching hires, I guess, that he's made. 3 analyst hires. Of course, promoting Chop, bringing in a special teams assistant that's got NFL experience, bringing in a defensive backs coach that has NFL experience. And then, of course, adding Seth Littrell, who Josh Heupel played with, former head coach at North Texas, and former offensive coordinator at Oklahoma most recently. I really, really like this hire. Again, we talk about slapping a fresh coat of paint on the walls, right? I mean, you can still have your offense. You can still do things the way you want to do, but it's okay to get an outside voice every now and again. And that's what he's going to add to Josh Heupel. He was asked about that on Friday, and I love this answer. Give it a listen.
Yeah, always at the end of the day, trying to make, just like you do in the recruiting process, make your roster as strong as you can. Try and do the same thing with your staff, and the addition of Seth, but the other guys that we've hired. Really excited about the experience that they have, the success that they've all had. My relationship with Seth, I think makes it easy in the transition as far as, man, he's going to be straightforward with me and be able to bounce ideas off of me, just having sat in that chair as a head coach too. And so excited about having him and the other guys here as we started spring ball.
Yeah, a couple of things here. Number one, his relationship with Seth, as he just said, allows him to be straight up with him, allows him to essentially don't BS him. Tell point blank, this is why I like this is why I think this is dumb, when maybe people in that role would kind of dance around the fact. I do, with all the craziness that is college football right now and the Wild Wild West and all that, one thing I do like is the role of analysts that really took it to the nth degree a couple of years ago, 5-10 years ago. And it's a lot of times it's like the coaching rehab, right? Go to Alabama, get fired, go to Alabama, get a second chance. But so many times you have these former head coaches that are analysts. And because they've been head coaches, as Josh Heupel just mentioned, they've sat in the chair. They understand what they're going through, and having a guy to bounce ideas off of or whatever, I think that's a really, really good thing. The beginning of his quote, and I meant to use this in the lead-in, said, just like in recruiting, man, we're trying to assemble the best coaching staff we can possibly be, every single year. I love that. I absolutely love that tie into recruiting because it's so true. You can't stay stagnant. A lot of fans are frustrated because there weren't many more changes to the assistant coaches or to the coaching staff this year. Well, I beg to differ, man. Yeah, sure. Mike Eckler left, and the majority of your assistant coaches stay the same. But in terms of your support staff and your analysts that are so inaugural part of your team, I mean, just huge part of your football team in the day-to-day operations, the meeting room, out on the practice field, and now on game days as well. Everybody can wear a polo and stand on the sideline. So I think Josh Heupel's done a really, really good job in that regard. And hiring a guy that he played football with, but has also been a head coach and has been known for his offensive prowess, to come in here and be an extra set of eyes, a new voice for the Tennessee offense. A final audio clip that I want to play, and this is kind of a hot topic right now. Everybody's canceling their spring games. Tennessee is not, at least to date. I mean, they're not going to for this year, but we'll see about moving forward. But the question was asked to Josh Heupel about what he thinks are the benefiting factors of having a spring game. Good answer for Josh Heupel. He was probably trained for that. I don't know if I believe him, but really good answer here from Josh Heupel.
It's not just the tradition of it. I do love the spring game, opportunity for our fans to be here inside of the stadium, but it's usually a great environment on campus that day. I think it's important, in particular for our young players, to get a taste of what it's going to be like in the fall, to play in front of a crowd, big stadium. We open up on the road this year. You don't want that to be the first time that they've played in front of a bunch of people, and so that experience, I think it can create urgency, understanding what it's going to feel like as they finish up spring ball, go into summer. End of the day, we got to accelerate their growth curve, and a spring game in those settings is a part of accelerating their growth.
So again, I'm not saying Josh Heupel does not enjoy the spring game. I think Josh Heupel loves Tennessee fans. I think it's always a privilege to get in that stadium when fans are in there and play some tackle football. I'm not saying all that, but coaches would rather have a closed door scrimmage because they can get more done, and I get it. I respect that. Now, I'm not for canceling spring games because the fan in me, the pageantry, the little kid that went to orange and white games, I understand all that. But I also see the other side of the coin for the coaches who are canceling it around the country. We've had this conversation many, many times, not because of the fear of transfer portal tampering. No, it's just because you can get a lot more done with a closed door scrimmage. just like Tennessee's going to have 2 of those before the actual orange and white game. So I thought that was a really good answer for Josh Heupel. We'll see what Tennessee wants to do moving forward next year and beyond about a spring game, but good answer there because it's a hot topic in college football right now. Hey, when we come back, Tennessee basketball on to the SEC tournament, finishing off the regular season strong with a win on Senior Day. All that and more is coming up next as we continue here. It's your Monday Locked On Vols. March Madness, it is here. The FanDuel Sportsbook app's giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That is $200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories and even who's cutting down the nets. I got my eye on a few underdogs this year, and FanDuel makes it easy to back them with spreads, totals, and game props. Tournament games happening almost every single day now. Again, this is March. There's always something exciting to bet on with conference tournament action happening. The women's tournament's going to be get going as well. There's going to be so many different games happening a lot of times all at one time. The FanDuel Sportsbook app is simple to use, and when I win, I get paid instantly. No waiting around. No, it goes to my account right then and right there. So visit FanDuel.com and get in on one of college hoops actions all tournament long. That's FanDuel.com to get in on the college hoops action all tournament long. New customers, $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. All that and more is over at FanDuel, where you can make every moment more. Tennessee wins its final regular season game 75-65 over South Carolina. It was a gross first half. Tennessee started pulling away there in the second half, and they were 15-point favorites, ended up winning by 10 over South Carolina 75-65. Tennessee finishes the regular season with a 25-6 record, 12-6 in Southeastern Conference play. South Carolina, one of the worst teams in the league, falls to 12-19, 2-16 in SEC play. From this game, number one big takeaway, man, for me was Cade Phillips. I mean, how great was he? How many lob dunks did he have? The little alley-oop dunks, was it 4? And then he tried to get that 5th one, and he missed there late in the game. I thought he was tremendous. Also, I thought he had the worst whistle of anybody playing in this game. I mean, the dude got drilled a couple of times, and it was a foul on Cade Phillips. I'm not sure how that kind of works out, but nonetheless, I thought Cade Phillips was fantastic for Tennessee, a career-high 15 points, played in 23 minutes, had 4 boards, 4 fouls, had 3 blocks as well. He was all over the court, so that was really, really cool to see. Tennessee had 4 players score in double figures, not one of them being Zakai Ziegler, who finished with 1 point on Senior Day. 1 point. Wow, that's very, very surprising there for Zakai Ziegler, but did have 8 assists, finished with 2 rebounds on a day where he was 0 of 2 from the field. Didn't shoot an awful lot, made 1 of his 4 free throws. Tennessee was horrific at the line, by the way. 9 of 21 from the charity stripe. 9 of 21. Playing at home against a really, really bad basketball team like South Carolina, you can scrape by if you're the number 4 team in the country and in the hunt for a number 1 seed. You're on the road or you're at a neutral site and you're in the SEC tournament or you're in the first or second round game. I mean, that's going to get you beat. 9 of 21, so pathetic, so pathetic. But Cade Phillips was awesome. I thought Jordan Gainey did some good things, 4 of 10 from the field. Chaz Lanier, of course, finished with 23 points, 9 of 16 shooting, 3 of 8 from downtown. 13 points from Igor, who shot the ball more. I thought that was good to see his aggression from the offensive end. 7 rebounds from Javon Mashak, who finished with 5 points. Mr. Do anything for the team. 3 shot attempts as well. Tennessee got dominated in terms of the boards, a couple of days ago against Alabama. And they lost the battle of the boards in this one as well, 32-31, but again, still found a way to come out on top because they're just a much better team. Tennessee dominated the paint, 42 points in the paint to 24 points for South Carolina. Tennessee's bench, primarily led by Gainey and Phillips, outscored South Carolina's bench 29-12. And Tennessee only had 1 more turnover than South Carolina, but Tennessee had 11 points off those turnovers, while South Carolina had 10 points off Tennessee turnovers. Tennessee in the game, I mean, it was fine. They shot 54% from the field. Wasn't fantastic from downtown, 28%, 6 of 21, and then I've already mentioned the charity stripe. Again, you can beat really bad teams doing that, but you're not going to beat good teams doing that in March. So, again, let that be a lesson. You play like this, you're going to get beat. And now we are at a stage where it really, this weekend, it doesn't matter because Tennessee is not getting a 1 seed. I highly doubt Tennessee will drop off the 2 seed line. So honestly, in my opinion, the SEC tournament doesn't matter at all for Tennessee, but this time next week, it absolutely will, because Tennessee will be in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Tennessee is locked into a 4 seed in the SEC tournament, a double bye. So Tennessee will get going on Friday, March the 14th. It'll be the second game. It'll be the second game of the day. Auburn will take on the winner of Ole Miss and somebody, and that game will start at noon Central Time. And then Tennessee will play after that game 25 minutes after that game, with Auburn's first opponent and them starting at noon Eastern Time, or noon Central Time, excuse me. So Tennessee is the 4 seed, and it'll be paired up with 1 seed Auburn. So if Tennessee wins on Friday and Auburn wins on Friday, like we all expect, it'll be Tennessee and Auburn, a rematch, and what was just a backyard brawl essentially in Auburn earlier this season when Tennessee had every chance in the world to win, but ultimately the defense kept them in. They just couldn't find a shot, and of course, Auburn couldn't find many shots as well. But a legit National Player of the Year contender there with Broome. It'll be a showdown that I think Tennessee fans will be super, super excited about. Of course, you got to win Friday night first, but Tennessee and Auburn set to go on Saturday if both those 2 teams win. And then the winner, of course, will play in Sunday's championship game. And, on the other side of the bracket, 2 seed Florida, 3 seed Alabama. You would assume those 2 teams will play on Saturday. And then, who might play spoiler? Kentucky's a 6 seed, A&M's a 5 seed. Tennessee could very easily play A&M on Friday. Could a team from, the first round action, make a run and try to mess some things up? Could, Vanderbilt make a run, who's the 12th seed in this tournament? I highly doubt it. But nonetheless, Tennessee poised for a rematch with Auburn on Saturday in the SEC tournament, but got to handle business on Friday first. Have a pulse. Tennessee did not have a pulse in the SEC tournament last year and got penalized. Between you and me, I still don't think anything's going to happen. If Tennessee wins or loses that game Friday, I think Tennessee is a 2 seed. So Tennessee, again, finished 12-6 in SEC play, won 8 of their final 10 games. That was really, really great to see. And Tennessee won the SEC tournaments 3 years ago for the first time since 1977. We will see exactly what Tennessee looks like this week and kind of how they're going to attack the tournament. Obviously, you play to win. Tennessee always plays to win. And, trying to solidify the last little bit before March Madness truly is here. And that is coming up a week from Friday, or a week from Thursday, I guess. Man, exciting times. Cannot wait. It is that time of the year, Tennessee basketball, make or break time, but the Volunteers finished with a really, really good regular season, and congrats to those seniors. Rick Barnes, super emotional. I wasn't on TV. They did the senior day celebrations after the game, and you saw video and, audio and all that, and he was wiping away tears when Zakai Ziegler was announced, at the Food City Center, and then you see Z go over there and literally give him a bear hug and pick him up. I thought that was hilarious. So, congrats to those seniors, Jemai Mashak, Zakai Ziegler, some of the most winningest Vols of all time. I mean, what a career, right? But it's not over. We'll see what Tennessee can do here to finish off this season in the SEC tournament. More importantly, in the NCAA tournament. Get in those questions, comments, concerns for your mailbag show. That's coming up tomorrow. Ask me anything you want on basketball, baseball, football, spring practice, recruiting. I'll take those questions at _Caner at Locked On Vols, and you can comment on this show on the YouTube channel as well. Appreciate you guys, as always, for being here. Tell your friends about this show. This is Locked On Vols.